My name is Mary and I'm 26 years old. I work in the clothing department of a major department store. My husband is Henry, who is 30 years old. He's the son of a well-established clothing store and works distributing clothes to department stores. We met at work, where Henry asked me out, and after dating, we got married a year ago. But speaking of marriage, we actually haven't had a wedding ceremony yet. We have both been busy, lacking time and funds, so we only registered our marriage, postponing the ceremony. Finally, with finances sorted, we decided to have a wedding in a few months. I'm currently preparing to send out invitations to friends and associates, but there is one problem. The issue is actually with my family back home. I live with my parents and my college student sister, Betty. Since childhood, my parents doted on my cute sister, often neglecting me, the quiet and plain one. Betty, knowing she's favored, started to treat me with scorn. Tired of being scorned to a favorite sister and the cold treatment, I left home when I started college and have been semi-estranged from then since. Normally, family attending the wedding is a given, but given our semi-estranged status, I need to confirm. Reluctantly, I decided to visit home to announce the wedding. Upon arrival, my mother greeted me. "Welcome back, Mary. It's been a while. Come in." Despite her words, Mother was unfriendly and aloof. Clearly, I was not welcome. In the living room, I found my sister Betty. "Oh, you're back. Seeing your face just annoys me. I had forgotten all about you." Betty always belittles me as her older sister. Raised to believe she's of higher rank due to parental favoritism, she's grown into a spiteful character. "I have something I want to talk about today. I'll leave as soon as it's done." "Then make it quick. We're busy too, you know." Betty attends a local university on our parents' dime. She's about to graduate, but doesn't seem to have any intention of working. The thing is, I'm going to have a wedding ceremony. "What? You're getting married? You managed to find someone?" Yes, that's right. We are already married. Just haven't had the ceremony because we have been busy. But we have finally saved up and we are planning the wedding. "Is that so? And, I was hoping Dad, Mom, and you, Betty, could come." "Why should I celebrate your wedding? It's a waste of time and money." "Huh. Well, if you're paying for everything, maybe I'll consider it. Haha." My sister laughed loudly, and I couldn't help but chuckle at her predictable response. "What are you laughing at?" Nothing. It's just your response was exactly as I expected. It was useless to ask. I'll mark you as not attending then. My sister seemed a bit flustered. "What? Well, maybe I'll go. It could be useful for planning my own wedding." Why would I spend money on such a mean sister?" "Shut up. Why do you get to marry before me?" That's when our mother intervened. "Are you two fighting? Mary, as the older sister, you should be more caring towards Betty." With our mother's arrival, Betty felt emboldened. "Mom, listen, she's having a wedding. Can you believe someone would marry her? It's so funny." "Mary, you're getting married? Why would you marry before our cute Betty?" Same old harsh mother. "Mom, we're not kids anymore. It doesn't matter who marries first. It's just about finding the right partner, isn't it?" My mother responded with a displeased look. "So what? You want us at your wedding? Well, we're family, so no need for a gift. But if you want us there, you'll have to cover travel, accommodation, and all the preparation costs, like the hairdresser." Just like mother and daughter, both saying the same thing. If you don't want to celebrate, then don't come. As unsympathetic as ever, hard to believe someone married such a stupid daughter. Betty chimed in with agreement. "Yeah, if you can get married, then I'll have no problem at all. I bet your husband is some poor nerd, right? A match made in heaven." I was exasperated. "What nonsense! I understand you're not coming and that's fine. Forget today's conversation, I'm leaving." "Why is it always fighting with you two?" Our father also came out due to the noise. "You're getting married? When's the wedding planned?" "It's tentatively set for a weekend in June at Central Park in New York." "All right, but remember, I considered us estranged, so don't expect me there." "I know, I wasn't expecting it." "Good, give my regards to your husband." "I will. Since that's settled, I'm heading back." My mother and sister were always like this, belittling me at every turn. I left home because I couldn't stand it anymore, managing to pay for college and living expenses through part-time job and scholarships. I didn't rely on my family. The reason I didn't have a wedding until now was due to repaying my student loans. With those paid off last year, I'm finally able to have a wedding. When I returned to the apartment I share with Henry, I reported today's outcome to him. Everyone ended up not coming.
That's too bad after all the effort you put into the wedding.
It's fine. I would have been embarrassed if they had come.
I've heard about Betty, but she wouldn't cause a scene this time, right?
That's exactly what might happen. She doesn't choose methods when it comes to troubling me.
Really?
Yeah, like during my elementary school field trip, she would wish for rain.
That's not cute.
And right before the field trip, she threw the clothes I planned to wear into the rice paddy, covering them in mud. I had to wear something else. Everyone stared. It was embarrassing. Even my crush laughed at me.
That's beyond laughing matter. Field trips, huh? I remember getting turned down by a girl I liked. Not a single happy photo from that day.
It's a memory now, right?
Yeah, but now that I've met you, Mary, my life is happy.
I'm glad I met you too, Henry.
Mary, I have something I want to discuss.
What's wrong?
It's about what you mentioned earlier.
The boy I like? There's nothing there now, don't worry.
No, before that. The part about your clothes getting dirty in the rice paddy.
That incident? What about it?
It was Betty, right? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, it was. It shocked me more than angered me.
So I've been thinking a bit about the wedding day.
What is it? The day of the wedding finally arrived. Our wedding started in the morning, so we were at the venue quite early. The ceremony just finished, and we are now waiting for the reception to begin. I can feel the tension rising. Suddenly, my mobile phone rang. It was Betty calling. I answered, wondering what it could be about at this timing. Hello, big sis. Congratulations on your wedding. Betty? Thanks. What do you want? Come on, don't talk like I'm plotting something. Well, it's right before the reception. You must want something to call at this time. You know me so well. So you're in a dress and your husband is in a tuxedo, right? Yes, but what about it? The dress is pretty, but a bit plain, so I decided to add some flair.
What are you talking about? What did you do?
I added accents to the dress and tuxedo. I made some cuts. It looks so much better now.
What? What did you do?
I cut the dress with scissors. Made it look cool. You can wear it now.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Playing dumb? You're as foolish as ever.
I'm already wearing the dress.
What?
Yes, a vintage style dress.
What do you mean?
I don't understand what you're on about, but if you saw me now, you would understand. Wait, I'll switch to video call. Saying that, I switched the call from audio only to video mode. After setting it to speaker mode, I extended my hand to make sure the camera captured me well. Now Betty should be able to see me in my vintage style dress. How about it? Can you see? You understand what I'm wearing, right? On my mobile phone screen, I saw Betty's face, her hand covering her mouth, clearly surprised even through the screen. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a door opening. On the other end, someone seemed to have entered. Then a scream. What? What's happening, Betty? Betty? Suddenly, Betty disappeared from the screen and the ceiling was shown instead. The call wasn't dropped as I could still hear the audio. What is this? I can't believe it! Someone's voice was heard crying out, "Horrible, horrible!" Amid sounds of people moving frantically, something was reported over the staff's walkie-talkie in my room. Their expressions turned serious. The outside grew noisy. Uncertain of what to do, I remained seated when Henry entered. What's going on? Betty called, and then all I heard were screams and crying before it went silent. Do you know anything? Henry's face was tense too. I'm not sure of the details, but it seems Betty did something. Unfortunately, it turned out as we discussed earlier. Do you mean about the wedding dress? Like the field trip incident, but we anticipated something this time and avoided it. However, it seems someone else became the victim. Apparently, Betty mistook someone else's dress for mine and ruined it. A staff member entered. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Due to a little trouble, the reception will be delayed. We'll inform you as soon as we have more details. Could you please wait here a bit longer? I exchanged looks with Henry.
Do you think it was Betty's doing?
Probably. This is going to have big repercussions.
The commotion outside grew louder. Unable to sit and wait, I stepped out of the room. In the hallway, a crowd was gathered near a dressing room. Someone was apologizing profusely. Betty? Mom? I managed to approach the two. What happened? Are you okay? Both my mother and sister's faces were ashen. I'm sorry. We're so sorry, they repeated to an apparently upset groom and his relatives. What happened here? I asked a nearby venue staff member. That lady intentionally cut up the bride's dress with scissors. The bride collapsed from the shock and the wedding had to be cancelled. What? I was speechless. Why would she do something like that? I couldn't understand the reason. After hearing the whole story, I was furious and utterly dumbfounded. My mother and sister planned to ruin my wedding by cutting up my wedding dress? They entered the venue early, claiming to be the bride's family and wanting to observe for reference, and were led into the dressing room. Then, when the attendant left the room momentarily, they used the scissor they had brought to cut up the white dress and tuxedo. They also destroyed the accessories, scattering necklace beads and stomping on the tiara, making a complete mess. They waited, hoping to see me in distraught and scream. They probably planned to laugh at my miserable state. However, they did manage to ruin my dress. Unaware of the actual situation, my sister snuck into the dressing room and cut up another couple's attire instead. The outfits for our wedding were prepared by my husband's family and brought to the dressing room just before the ceremony. Upon discovering the situation, the venue staff immediately checked the surveillance cameras. Then Henry revealed a hidden camera he had installed that showed my mother and sister cutting the dress and destroying the accessories. This evidence, along with the staff's identification, led to my mother and Betty being quickly apprehended. The bride who suffered the damage fainted in shock and distress after seeing her cherished wedding dress slashed to pieces. She was then transported by ambulance and the wedding was consequently cancelled in chaos. The dress, being custom-made, cost over $30,000, and with accessories also destroyed, the total damage exceeded $50,000. Additionally, the cancellation of the wedding incurred significant compensation costs. The total damage was close to $300,000, especially as the bride's father was a major corporate executive and the groom was the son of a politician. With over 300 guests invited, leading to substantial additional losses, both families and their guests were furious, confronting my mother and sister, demanding apologies and compensation. They agreed to discuss the matter later to calm things down. The other party was furious. "I'll hire a lawyer and claim the total damages incurred," he shouted. My mother and sister were in tears, a pitiable sight. Overwhelmed by the outcome, they irrationally blamed me. "It's Mary's fault. It's all because of her. We just wanted to see Mary's troubled face. Since it's all her fault, we are not to blame." But such absurd reasoning didn't hold, and they were reprimanded by my father, collapsing into tears. I feel sorry for the real victims, the other bride and groom and their families, and there was nothing we could do. Leaving the two to my father, my husband and I left the venue. It was actually Henry who anticipated Betty's actions. After hearing about my field trip incident, he speculated Betty might plan something similar and devised countermeasures. First, we chose a vintage-style dress. Henry's family owns a well-established clothing store, and he suggested using the wedding and the vintage dress for the store's promotion and brochures, an idea his father supported by providing the attire free of charge. Though it was to be kept a secret, his father generously compensated us as models. And so, anticipating Betty might do something to the dress, Henry installed a hidden camera in the dressing room. It turned out to be a hit. Afterwards, we settled with the other bride and groom's relatives and their lawyers, going through various disputes, but eventually agreed to pay a compensation sum exceeding $500,000. To gather the funds, my father took early retirement to access his pension, sold the family home and land, and even took out payday loans to make a one-time payment. Then he decided to divorce my mother. My mother pleaded not to divorce and to help pay off the debt together. "All of this is because of what you and Betty did. I have done all I can. Now it's up to you and Betty to work and pay it back. Reflect on the gravity of your actions." My father rejected her. He then moved back to his brother's place to help with the family business. My sister was about to graduate college but had to drop out as she couldn't afford the tuition anymore. She contacted me once asking to help with the compensation, but I refused and ignored all further contact. My mother also reached out wanting financial aid from my husband's family, but of course we declined. My husband agreed with my decision. Now, mother and sister, having lost their home, live in a small old apartment, working day and night to pay off the monthly debt. Betty started working at a nightclub, but due to her unpleasant nature and fickleness, kept changing places. As for me, after enjoying a week-long honeymoon, I started a happy life with my husband in a new apartment. Recently, we discovered I'm pregnant and my husband is thrilled. Upon discovering my pregnancy, I discussed with my husband and decided to quit my job to become a housewife. Though our income has decreased, our time together has increased, deepening our bond. We're living joyfully, looking forward to our child's arrival. There's talk of my husband taking over the family clothing store, and we might move back to his family home when the baby is born. What about this dress for the baby's first birthday? The baby is still in my belly, Henry. You're so eager. Next year, we'll likely welcome a cute child perfect for dresses and look forward to taking family photos with my husband and child.